Hello everybody, this is Jurassic Adventures, and with Jurassic World Dominion dropping in a few days, I definitely wanted to recreate one of my favorite scenes from the trailer, that being the Malta chase scene. So I got this nice background, and I have this nice building prop, and then I have Owen on the motorcycle, of course. I have a couple atrociraptors. This is Panthera, and then this one is Ghost, and these are just painted really simply with some brush paint. Then, of course, just a few innocent bystanders. And then, of course, we have the two biggest parts of the scene. The sort of medium-sized Allosaurus and the tiny Carnotaurus. Something isn't right. Let's fix it. Hello everybody, this is Jurassic Adventures, and in today's video, we will be making the Demon Carnotaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. Now, originally I had this thing painted up like the Kenner Demon Carnotaurus, but actually after I painted that, I did get a chance to buy it, and I also made a video restoring this one, and so that is my actual Kenner Demon. So I didn't really have a use for this one anymore, so I decided to make the Demon Carnotaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. So already I did a ton to this figure. I did a lot of sculpt modifications by cutting down the sort of snout region and resculpting that into more accurate looking version, because originally it's very triangular and pointy, which is kind of odd for a Carnotaurus who's supposed to have this sort of blunt front of the face. And then I also made the broken horn, which is very characteristic of that Demon Carnotaurus in Jurassic World Dominion. I also made the jaw posable by taking off the bottom jaw and then actually peeling back the side of the head here and then cutting off some parts to get access to that spring. I wasn't exactly sure how to do this, but I did know I wanted to make it a posable jaw, so I managed to do that. And then I also covered up those sound holes and also the battery compartment here, and then of course the button. So now we have a pretty good base model that we need to get primed. As you could already guess by now, we are starting with priming in gray. So as per usual with these figures, I primed this thing in gray, and then I did a little bit of this sort of light grayish tan for the underbelly, just dry brushing. And now what I'm going to do with the airbrush is I'm going to start building up that sort of dark blackish gray base coat. Now that we got this sort of black base coat done with it, we're going to take some lighter gray tones and we're just going to dry brush over this thing, because it is this sort of black tone, but we want to give it some more detail and a little bit more character. Now that we have all the dry brushing done on the body, we're going to move into some of that red patterning. So now we have that red and orange patterning done on the Carnotaurus, and this thing is looking awesome. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brush and just start doing details. Starting off first, we're just going to pick out some little scales and highlight them with some different colors. With that out the way, we're going to take some grayish brown tones and start dry brushing the horns. Next, we're going to take a grayish pink tone and we're going to start painting in those scars. And then now I'm painting the mouth a sort of light purplish color. And then we put a little black pupil. I painted the little white light catch inside of the eye, and now we have one last step, which is just putting some gloss varnish on the eyes and the mouth, and this repaint is complete. So guys, I thought the Carnotaurus was going to be the end of this repaint video. However, I just found this Extreme Damage Allosaurus, and this thing is absolutely awesome, but I think the deco is a little bit lacking, and it is seen with the Carnotaurus in that Malta scene in Jurassic World Dominion, so I think it's just right that we have to do the Allosaurus as well in this video. Now, I have done an Allosaurus before, but this one's way bigger and more neat. I actually sold my other one just because this one was coming out, and this thing is massive, as you can see, just the perfect size. So all around, I was super excited for this figure, and now we can get into painting it. So what I just did to the Allosaurus is I primed it in gray, and then I dry brushed it with a little bit of beige on the underbelly, and then I also did some pink with the airbrush and did a little bit of dry brushing with a little bit more of a redder pink tone around the snout, and that is it for all those sort of warmer colors. And now we're going to start moving into the blue and gray tones that cover the Allosaurus. Now, just like my last repaint, I'm just going to start building up a little bit more of some darker tones and different sort of blue and bluish purple tones. So what I've done with the Allosaurus is I have just taken a lot of blues, primarily darker blues and grays and other tones, and I've just sort of made a bunch of patterns on this figure and done a lot of that to give it a lot of detail, and it's looking really good, so I think we can start moving into the brush detail. So I painted all the scars on the body, and then I painted scars on the face in pink, and then now I also painted the mouth in pink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting up the teeth. So I put a brown wash inside of the mouth and then also on the bone and the damage right here. With the damage is we're just going to paint it with some sort of brownish orange ink, and that will give it sort of like this sort of darker, bloodier tone, and then we can add some more different things to make it actually look kind of gory and bloody later. And the reason we're using ink first is because ink will really dye this in that color, because ink is very potent, and with this sort of rubber material we don't want to use any acrylic paints really. And here I'm using Blood for the Blood God by Citadel, and this one is a little bit more rubbery, so it shouldn't chip off like any of the other sort of acrylic paints that I have. And then moving to the eye, of course, we're just going to paint that with a little bit of greenish yellow. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of black paint, and we're going to paint the pupils real carefully. And then the last step of this repaint is just to gloss up all the places where it should be glossy, and that includes the rib cage and the damage, as well as the mouth and the eyes. And that is it for the Allosaurus. And with that, guys, we finally have an accurate sized Carnotaurus and Allosaurus as seen in the Malta scene in Jurassic World Dominion. These customs turned out outstanding, and they are also a great way to celebrate the beginning of Jurassic June. I personally don't have a favorite, but if you do, please let me know in the comments below. As always, this is Jurassic Adventures, and I'll see you in the next video.